Schools have become so invested in assessment tests that we have nearly forgotten that there are other ways to evaluate a student's work. Educators can learn from video games that use built-in assessments based on mastery of skills. This video will examine the evaluation process in a game I built on GameStar Mechanic called Amazing Challenge, and an educational video game called Wolf Quest, which was created by the Minnesota Zoo and EduWell. GameStar Mechanic is an online site that allows players to go through the Quest training process to learn the basics of building simple video games. Students learn how to use different game elements to create games that are challenging but not so difficult that the player loses interest in the game. Once the player completes Quest, he or she can go on to the workshop and develop games using the sprites they earned in Quest. There is also a third section of the site called Game Alley, where one can play games made by other players. The Quest portion uses assessment by not allowing a player to move on to the next step in the learning process until she has demonstrated proficiency on the current level. Therefore, learning is evaluated by mastery of a skill that is being taught. Games that players can build on GameStar Mechanic are basic maze-type games where the first-person avatar character has to work his or her way through the puzzle, collecting points and reaching a goal at the end of each round. There are different kinds of avatars that have different powers who act as obstacles to completing the round. As you work your way through the mazes, you can see an assessment of how well you are doing at the top of the screen in the form of time used up, points acquired, and health points used. Wolf Quest uses a different form of assessment. At the beginning of the game, you select the characteristics of your wolf. You can change some physical characteristics, but you can also trade off between speed, strength, and endurance. The goal of the first quest is to travel through the area seeking a mate. As the wolf moves around, it encounters different animals that it can prey upon. The player needs to become immersed in the food chain to keep the wolf thriving on its quest for its mate. There are a complex list of keystrokes that allow the wolf to perform a variety of actions, and the more of the tools the player learns to use, the better the wolf will survive its mission. There are two gauges at the top left side of the screen to determine when the wolf needs to rest or to prey on an elk to restore its strength. Beware of the bears who are stronger than the wolf and can cause damage. Also, there are encounters with other wolf packs, which are necessary to find a mate. However, the player is free to choose how the wolf will deal with the encounter to continue on its quest. The player can tell how he or she is doing by how well the strength and endurance of the wolf is managed and how it does in encounters with other animals. The player learns about life cycles for wolves by being immersed in their environment and being made to empathize with the wolf. There are many different ways to assess learning. Tests are just one way, and they may not even be the best way to measure success. Educators need to evaluate other kinds of assessment and build it into the learning process.